Yay! Good evening and welcome. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Nevada City Council to order. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, and it's 6:30 p.m. And I'm so happy to be here with all of you. We will. You do it? Okay.
We acknowledge that the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible. We understand that we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as their campaign to restore federal recognition.
Thank you. And I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, thinking a lot about the word indivisible these days. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Nancy Ajian, did I get that close? Ashtian is sitting in for our Councilor Dean Pucci tonight. Nancy will keep us on track. And Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll.
Councilmember Ceci.
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Fleming is absent. Vice Mayor Klein.
I'm here, Gabby.
Well, welcome. And Mayor Peterson.
I'm here too. All right. Okay, so adoption of the agenda. We do have a couple of modifications I think that I would call out in the beginning is former Planning Commissioner Peter Van Zandt was not with us tonight, so we will wait until he can be present with us, and we will recognize him appropriately, and we're all thinking good thoughts about Peter and where he is with things. And we also will, during the consent agenda, before it's approved, we will have Dan Foss, wherever he went.
He's in the back of the room.
Oh, okay. You're not in your usual seat. Okay.
He's keeping an eye on this rowdy crowd.
Yeah. We'll speak to the loss of a police officer in Marysville at the beginning of the consent agenda. And with those modifications, I'm looking for approval of the agenda unless I missed something, City Manager.
I think you got it.
Okay.
I
So
moved.
moved.
Yeah, second.
Moved by Councilmember Fernandez, second by Vice Mayor Klein. Roll call.
Councilmember Ceci.
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein.
Yes.
And Mayor Peterson.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to do this before we go to the consent calendar. So Chief, you're up.
Mayor, thank you. And members of council, so I'm going to read this one because it's a little bit tougher one to get through. So I don't normally read, it's not where I'm comfortable at, but I think for this, that's going to be the best approach. So one of our neighboring agencies, the Maryville Police Department, is currently going through one of the most challenging times as an organization. Officer Osmar Rodante was fatally wounded while executing a search warrant. Officer Rodarte was a U.S. Army veteran and had been with the agency for only 2 years. Officers with the Nevada City Police Department have been working with the Marysville Police Department to show our support and offer services as they struggle to bring their members and their community through this time. Our thoughts and prayers will be with them, and may Officer Rodarte rest in peace. His end of watch was March 26, 2025.
Thank you, Chief. And we will now take a moment of silence in honor of the fallen officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you, Councilmember Ceci, for bringing this to our attention. Very important.
Chief.
Okay, so now I'm looking for a motion and second to approve the consent calendar.
Didn't we do that?
Presentations first.
Oh, we just did it. We did it.
Presentation.
Oh, we have a,
We do.
A proclamation.
2 of them.
goodness. Okay. So I don't have them.
Yep.
They're not printed. Okay.
They're right here.
Oh, you have them.
Yes.
Okay, you're going to read them.
No. I'll take the first one, though, if you would like.
Shall I pass?
Okay, so Sean to introduce, Mayor to read, but I still don't have anything to read, so.
I will hand it to you in just a second. Well, I'll give you both of them.
Okay,
They're two different sizes. You figure out why. April is Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. When we did our strategic planning process in 2022, and then again in earlier this year, the community overwhelmingly supported arts and culture initiatives in our community. The goals that are related to those are in our Vibrancy Strategic Initiative. One of the outcomes of that strategic initiative is the creation of our Nevada City Public Arts Commission, which is both an advisory and an advocacy body for arts in town. We did invite the commission to join us this evening to receive the proclamation that the mayor will read. And so I'll introduce President Celine Negrete, Vice President Shannon Harney, Mira Clark, Nakaya Schwartz, Gianna Arbex, and recently former Commissioner Eliza Tudor. I think the only ones we're missing are our Youth Commissioner Jonas Arianes.
Back there.
he's behind the
Can't see
podium.
you. Jonas is here. So the only one we're missing is Kathy Wilcox Barnes, who is, I believe, out of the country. So your entire Planning Commission or Public Arts Commission -1 here to accept your proclamation.
All right, here we go. Whereas Art in Nevada City is a cultural engine that speaks, leads, and creates meaning in the lives of those who live, work, and play and thrive in our community. And whereas art in Nevada City is unique in that its ubiquitousness makes it sometimes hard to see. And whereas art in Nevada City comes from every corner of our community, reflects the culture we come from, lays bare our biases, shows us where we stand, and creates a path to the possibility we wish for our city in the future. And whereas art in Nevada City comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, tones, voices, and materials, and is only limited by the imagination of those that create and enjoy it. And whereas art in Nevada City tethers us to this place while also transporting us to other places close and infinitely far away. Who wrote this? This is really good. And whereas the art of Nevada City is built upon the legacy of creators spanning generations from the past 2 centuries of the city's existence to the 10 millennia during which the Nisenan and other native peoples have inhabited and enriched this land. Whereas art in Nevada City asks us to tell our truths, to take a stand, to use our voices, and to speak for those who cannot. And whereas art in Nevada City is an exchange of energy, a cultural change agent, born of the never-ending and ever-changing conversation that unites us rather than divides us. Yes. And whereas art in Nevada City feeds and nurtures the human spirit through visibility in events, festivals, galleries, theaters, cultural event centers, homes, and in nature. And whereas the city of Nevada City is committed to art in all of its form and has created the Nevada City Public Arts Commission to serve as an art advisory and advocacy body on behalf of the City Council. And whereas the Nevada City Public Arts Commission is one small piece of an immense web of artists and consumers of art that surround the physical space of Nevada City. And whereas the City of Nevada City supports the Nevada County Arts Council and California for the Arts. The celebration of April is as Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, defining the city's strategic initiative of vibrancy in the same terms. Arts, culture, and creativity. And whereas the city supports art as an industry and seeks to ensure that artists are paid fair wages for work, product that helps shape our community. And whereas individual pieces of art in Nevada City may have a price tag, the value of art within the community is immeasurable. Nicely done. Is there more? Should I turn it over? Or did we get
There is a page 2.
Oh my God. Oh, excuse me. That's never happened before. Wow.
It's just the now, therefore.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering where that went. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Nevada does hereby proclaim the month of April as Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month in Nevada City and invites those who live, work, and visit our community to take a pause to enjoy the immense presence of art within our community. Be it further resolved that the City Council requests that the Nevada City Public Arts Commission accept this proclamation on behalf of the arts community and continue the Commission's efforts in support of arts and culture within our community. All right. I'm going and come and give it to you guys. Yeah, you should all stand up and somebody will take a picture.
We'll all stand up and we'll grab it.
Where do I get that?
That's my art.
It is indeed. It is.
Flanked by ladies.
Figure that artists would pose this appropriately.
Yeah, I like to think these are the intersection of
Oh,
those
it's
two.
beautiful. That was lovely. Don't move.
Yay.
And council, would you like to make any comments regarding this presentation?
I just, looking in the audience and seeing such beauty and vibrancy in our Public Arts Commission, I'm just so excited that this has happened and that Adam and Sean and others, we were able to pull this together with your support. So thank you for being here and doing this and being on this inaugural commission. It really is kind of a dream come true. Thanks.
Thanks. Nothing there?
Yeah, when I get asked, what have you done since you got on city council, this is always the first thing that comes to mind. It's the Public Arts Commission. It's my favorite thing we've done, and thanks for doing that, everybody. I have not had a chance to attend one of the meetings, but I only hear good things.
You have enough meetings to go to.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding.
Well, it's one of the biggest things to me ever in our city is that, oh, well, maybe we should have an arts council. You look at all the art and everything and the meaning of it and the power of it and how it's embedded in everything that we do. And as I was saying to our newest planning commissioner who's coming on board, it's essential that we all stand up and take responsibility for our communities. So thank you for doing that. Okay, onward. You want to introduce the Dark Sky or just want me to start singing it?
Just briefly, because I think this one's shorter, it's not 2 pages, so
Noted
you don't have to read as much, but after people hear this wonderful words from you, they should check our social media next week, because there might be a Dark Skies experience coming on April 26th. Rumor has it that the chair of our planning commission might be leading that, and for those of you that know Rod Brown, he's an astronomy nerd in a good way, and has an amazing telescope, so look for information about our Dark Skies experience coming up later this month.
Okay, here we go. Dark Sky. We're going to do that. Whereas the City of Nevada City is committed to improving and maintaining our quality of life, which includes reducing light pollution by minimizing glare, light trespass, and sky glow. And whereas outdoor lighting best practices can preserve, protect, and enhance the night sky while mitigating negative impacts to wildlife health. And whereas International Dark Sky Week is April 21st to 28th, 2025, and whereas night sky compliant lighting practices can be as easy as using light only where you need it, when you need it, with the minimum amount of light needed, while shielding and directing light downwards. And whereas the Nevada City Planning Commission has recommended a draft dark sky ordinance, and the City Council has approved the recommended ordinance be reviewed for compliance with Dark Sky International Standards for community certification, and whereas the city is willing to lead by example, always, by improving, retrofitting, and pursuing standards where necessary to support night sky compliance, and whereas protecting the night sky helps promote safety, livability, migratory animals and insects, urban natural areas, and quality of life, and whereas the city will continually engage the community through education, night sky experiences, outreach, and partnership with local organizations to raise dark sky awareness. Whereas the city will be acting to minimize light pollution through lighting code updates, building retrofits, improved street lighting technology, education and technical assistance, and data collection and monitoring. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Nevada City does hereby recognize April 21st, 28th, 2025 as International Dark Sky Week in Nevada City and throughout the world, and invites those who live, work, and play and thrive in Nevada City to consider how they can make simple yet meaningful changes to protect our night sky. Yes. Dark sky.
If you're going to sing it, Gary.
No, nobody wants that. Anybody going to get this, or we're just going to?
Nobody here to receive it that
Okay,
I'm
well,
aware
we're
of.
going to do it anyway. Okay,
Perfect.
here we go. Thank you. Yay. Okay, so, all right, that brings us to public comment. Government Code Section 54954.3 provides any member of the public may address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. Public comment open. Step right up.
Good evening. I'm Gianna Arbex with the Grass Valley, Nevada City Cultural District. I'm the new program manager for the Cultural District. And I feel that as part of Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, I really wanted to also highlight that we are a cultural district, which is a state designation. We're 1 out of 14 in the state. It is a distinction that really shows the amount of the cultural assets that we have here in our geographic area. And it's very curated by the state with this distinction. And it just really shows the richness and vibrancy of our community here. And one of the things that we're working on with the Cultural District is a strategic plan for arts and culture. And just also to provide a little more context, the Cultural District is a partnership with the City of Nevada City, the City of Grass Valley, both our Nevada City Chamber and Greater Grass Valley Chamber. And we are working on a strategic plan for arts and culture locally. And we have just entered the community engagement phase of this planning. And what that means is our consultants are going to be here at the end of April running listening sessions, including a listening session at the Miners Foundry, which is a partnership with the city. And we would love to get our community to attend these because we want to capture as many voices as possible to help inform how the arts and culture plan is going to be developed. So I want to invite not only our council members, but our general public to attend. If there's any interest in shaping the future of arts and culture locally, we really want to hear your voice. So as many voices that we can get in the room, the better. So to find out about these, you visit cultureforwardca.org. And you can RSVP, you can register to attend those sessions April 30th and May 1st, including one that will be at the Miners Foundry on April 30th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Other public comment? Elijah?
Proclamation. Hello, Eliza Tudor, Nevada County Arts Council. That proclamation was absolutely beautiful. I completely loved the sort of universal soaring rhetoric. It was fantastic.
A lot of Star Trek stuff.
And I think what Gianna was pointing out is please name the fact that we are a California cultural district in such proclamations, because it lends such gravitas. We can then use it. In April, on April the 23rd, which coincides with Shakespeare's birthday, I'll be in with the governor's office, advocating for the arts and alongside workforce development for artists. And we'll also be seeing our state legislators across the whole of Northern California. And we speak about these important pieces of paper and the incredible work of our municipalities. So I think it was just a little note to include the acknowledgement that we are a state-designated cultural district alongside the proclamation. But good work. You guys are amazing. Sean, that was the most beautiful proclamation. Good work.
It really was.
Thank you. Other comment?
Thank you for your note, Eliza. Next year's proclamation.
Wow, the date's wrong. Thank you.
I mean, what is time?
Yeah, it's relative.
Kyle can fix that.
Kyle can fix that.
So we're still at the last meeting. Okay, moving
Kyle, the
on.
date's wrong.
Moving on. We'll close public comment. And now we'll move on to approval of the consent agenda. Looking for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Cece, second by Councilmember Fernandez. Roll call, please.
Just in case there was any public comment on the
Oh, yeah.
consent calendar items.
Any public comment on this? I just did public. Seeing none. And the confused mayor
Sorry.
calls for a roll call. No, that's all right. Somebody should remind me.
Councilmember
Term
Cece.
limits.
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez.
That's ages.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes, yes, yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right. All right. So we're going to move to the business. So item 11, which is we're going to do half of item 11 as we referenced before. So take it away, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, and for those at home, planning commissioners are appointed by and serve at the will of each of our individual council members. So Councilmember CC's appointed planning commissioner, Peter Van Zandt, has resigned his position after a long and illustrious public and private career, which you'll hear more about at our April 23rd meeting, since he can't be with us tonight. But we noticed the vacancy on March 21st, and then it was on our March 26th City Council agenda as required by our rules. Councilmember CC's new appointment will serve out his term of which ends June 30th, 2026. The new appointee will be sworn in at the next Planning Commission meeting, which is normally the third Thursday of every month, but this month is moved to the fourth Thursday, so from the 17th to the 24th. And with that, I will let Councilmember CC introduce his appointment.
Thank you, Sean. It is, I am happy that Peter Van Zandt agreed to be my commissioner, and sad to see him leave, but understand that he needs to take care of himself. And I will go into great detail about his service to the county and the city, which is enormous. Having people like Peter serve our community is what makes our community great. And therefore, I searched far and wide to find someone who could fill his shoes, or at least be willing to take the time to serve on this commission.
Not too far, not too wide. It's like 2 square miles, right? Sorry.
Correct.
Councilmember
It's not
behavior.
far and wide enough, sorry.
It is on foot. So with that, I am very pleased to say that Jim Katami has consented to be my nominee, and I would like him to come forward and say a little bit about himself.
Hello. Hi, Daniela, and Gary, and Adam, and Lou, and everyone. Well, I've been here for 13 years now, and I have been active a little bit in community affairs and in, I guess, local politics a little bit. I have to say is that, and I have been before the Planning Commission through several issues, and I must say it's been. I want to say it was actually a great experience. So I'm so happy that Lou is willing to accept my volunteering for the position. I really love living here, and I just want to be involved, and I want to give back, and I know we all live in kind of a different. I got to be careful about the words. A different era, and just being active now, I think, is really important, and that's what I would like to do. So thank you very much again for having me.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. What is the next step in this procedure?
There's no public comment.
It's a public comment, and then it's a receive and file, but I'd appreciate if you took a vote on it, just so that we don't have a blank spot on our minutes.
Really?
You don't get to vote to approve it, it's just you're receiving and filing his
But the
appointment.
minutes will look cool.
Yes, exactly. They'll look full. Gives-
Do a public comment on this? Is that appropriate? No. All right, go ahead. Okay, so, motion?
I move that you acknowledge the appointment of Jim Katami to the Planning Commission.
I second that.
Okay, motion by Councilmember CC, second by Vice Mayor Klein. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Solid.
Welcome, Jim.
Welcome, and thank you, Jim. Thank you for, again, taking responsibility for your community. It's really important. Okay, so then we're going to move to Consideration of the special event street closure request for 3 Friar Tuck's hosted glass blowers experience on May 2nd, September 5th, and October 10th, 2025. Sean, if you, oh, Lon's going to do it. Oh, good. Let's put Lon to work.
You can pull that other chair over if you want.
Oh, look at this, you're gonna get the nice chair.
Careful, that's the trick chair,
Mine
too.
kind of drops. It just
It
drops
can
a little.
be.
I don't know who he is, we got these glasses on.
Oh, you got the great with that, I see dark sky, dark star.
Thanks. All right, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. Lon Peterson, Assistant City Manager, Nevada City. For consideration this evening, special event street closure request, Friar Trucks to host a glass blowers experience. And joining me tonight is Ken Page and
John Simpson.
John Simpson, and they will go over the details of this specific request. With that, Ken?
I can't wait for this. I was so excited, especially you're talking about arts. Friar Tuck's been there a long time, and we've have our focus now on art, music, and history, and those are the 3 channels that we're wanting to develop this year in our restaurant. Historical series, bringing in authors and people from the community to sign books and talk about the gold mining country. We're going to do, we have original songwriters coming in once a month now, singing original songs. And then this is a kickoff where John is here, a professional glass blower, I guess you would say, 25-year. But what came to mind was Curious Forge and Alexart and Friar Tuck's, and having an event where we blow glass on the street, and they would have hot glass, cold beer, mocktail, wine, water, whatever they would like. And we'd have the experience on the street, similar to just an art walk. We would have music on the street, have some vendors on the street, and make it a celebration of art and music. And I just think it'd be extraordinary. We've been working on it for a long time. And I wanted John here because he's been significant in meeting with the Chamber, Alexart, Curious Forge, getting all the connections together so we could pull this off and have a wonderful event. So we're looking at 3 dates. I think, Sean, we messed up on some of the dates. I think it's May 2nd, right, not May 1st that I had, and then the 5th, and then October, you said there was a conflict. I thought it was
Yeah, May 2nd, September 5th, October 10th.
10th, okay. And those are the 3 dates. And then we're going to do this also during the art walk, the 3 art walks. We're going to have the same thing going on in front of Friar Tuck. So that's the over big picture of what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Let's see how we want to do this. Council has questions? Any questions?
Yeah, for sure.
You have questions?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Welcome. I love glass blowing. This sounds exciting. Can you tell us a little bit, so you're going to be doing this during the art walk, but then an additional 3 days. Can you tell us why an additional 3 days?
It started when John and I met, and he can tell you some background of the number of artists that he knows are here. And we felt an initial one, we'd get it going, we could get signups for Curious Forge to do more on that. But we wanted it to be 6 months in a row because we believe, and with John's experience, this will be a major, significant, over time, bringing people into the community, art people into the community, and it's going to get some traction. So we thought 1, and then we do that, and then we'll have the ones after that I believe it's going to be significant. So we wanted some traction for it because we like to do it possibly every year or year round or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. You want to add anything to? Okay.
I can answer questions then, yeah, sure.
I'm curious, are you the glass blower?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
One of them.
So I kind of put all of it, like all the pieces together, so I know like all the different people. One of the things, this event is actually successful all over the country. There's a hot glass cold beer in San Francisco that I love and I've gone to. So this event, because we don't have a school, we wanted to, support the Curious Forge. They're a great, an amazing place for this community, and it's not crowded enough in there. You know what I mean? It really should be. There's so many artists in this community, and I know tons of them. I've been doing this 28 years. I've been blowing glass. I've been in the community for a few years, but my family's been here for 15 or so.
Tell me a little bit about the logistics of when I hear hot glass cold beer. That sounds refreshing and exciting, but when I hear hot glass on the streets of Nevada City.
So you've seen the glass blowers, the lamp workers that have been at, the Victorian Christmas. You guys have people with torches that are making things. So we'll have a booth like that. But we'll also have this portable furnace, which is from the Curious Forge. And it's on a trailer. And we'd have an area blocked off in the street. With 14 feet around the entire thing. It is enough for, it's a big furnace. So it's, you have the long pole and it's the hot shop or furnace work or soft glass. Some people call it soft glass. So we'll have both of those. I'd like to have, we have a friend of ours who does like juggling and things like that. We have stilt walkers that we've contacted that we'd like to have involved as well, having booths. But the idea being that the cups are made at the Curious Forge. So all of these cups are all individually made. And so they're all individual. So when you get there, you pay for your cup. You can pay $40, $60, $80, $100, whatever, different levels of the cup. But what it comes with is that money pays for your drinks for the evening. And that's either beer, wine, or Elixart. We partnered with Elixart, so we have them there for non-drinkers, which we have a lot of in the community. But then most of that money will go back to the Curious Forge, right? Some back to Ken, who's putting in a lot of time and money. So, but the idea is, getting all of these glass blowers together. Eventually, I see it just like at, any of these other places where you start bringing in people that have followings, and they can, then it gets more exciting because you have these, well-known glass blowers coming, and I know a lot of them, so I can do that, I think it will be really successful.
And is that the price points? I heard 40, 60, 80, $100.
That's if you want to. It's free. The whole event is free.
Yeah.
But if you want to drink, and you want to have a cup that's yours that you bring home and you start a collection, if we do it every month, you can go and get a cup every month,
And one of the possibilities, talking to the other restaurants in town, it could eventually be an opportunity where if they get the glass here, in the next week, they can go to another restaurant with that glass, and they'll
Like
participate in getting a drink at the brew house or some other place.
Which
So
then gets more customers into
community,
their
yeah.
businesses as
everybody
well.
sharing, you got it here, you can take it around town and make it a community event. That's our
Sure.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. And just this last question that kind of has to do with community. I imagine you've talked to your neighbors.
We
How do
sent the
your,
letter out, yeah.
yeah, got it.
And a few of them have already, especially the glass across the street.
It seemed
But
natural.
Yubobo said they wanted.
Well, there's about 4 of us that are involved in that will be involved in the first event, that do business with her, so it's pretty.
And the other stores said they probably want to be on the street to do stuff with us too. So, and then I opened it up to the whole community, restaurants, saying, anybody wants to come, let's do this together. No,
Thank you.
yeah.
Question?
The furnace you referred to, is that the one that's in addendum A, the picture?
Yeah, I sent the picture of it.
That's not on the trailer. We sent you the information
This one,
on
this
the
one.
trailer. Oh, is it the exact one?
No, I don't know if that's the exact one or not, yeah.
I just want to get a sense of the size of the thing.
It's a 5x7 trailer, so it's not large.
But the furnace is
The
smaller.
furnace is smaller than the 5x7 trailer, yes.
Okay.
It's on there, yeah.
And
Thank
it'll
you.
stay on the trailer.
And it stays on the trailer, yes. It's, yeah.
This might just be a question for Sean. I'm looking at business item 12, and it just says street closure request for 3 of these experiences, and I'm hearing 6 now.
So the May 2nd date is the first Friday of May, and then you have June, July, August are the first Friday art walks hosted by the chamber.
Yeah.
They will be out there during those events also.
But we're not approving that.
You're not approving that. That's already approved in the chamber's events, and then they bookend that with September 5th and October
Okay.
10th. So they have one, Ken has essentially, he's asking for one event before the art walk, 3 art walks, and 2 after for 6, essentially 6 consecutive
Gotcha.
months of First Friday activities on Pine Street there.
Alrighty, cool. I feel like Daniela was heading down this way, so I'm just going to ask the heat aspect and the glass aspect.
Yeah.
Both of those feel like potentially dangerous.
It's far less dangerous than you think. It really is, and you have professionals that were going to be, you know.
I'm not anticipating danger. I'm just saying.
Right. So no, I mean with the amount of space that we have, the only person in danger is the person doing the work. So
Here's my question. I'm assuming there will be no actual danger, but in the event someone is hurt, who assumes liability for that?
So we all are getting $1 million worth of insurance for that day. So everyone that we bring in, we're having them also get insurance.
Okay, cool.
And we're using the same waiver for participants as the chamber uses, signing off for all the vendors. So saying the city's not lobbying, it's the same form. I just put Friar Tuck's instead of chamber.
Okay.
So everybody that participates will be signing that form as well.
Okay.
And just to clarify, these glass cups are not being carried from place to place with alcohol in them.
No, so the alcohol, so he has a patio, so he has one little area outside that would be, you know, where people could have a cup. But all alcohol would stay inside. We're going to do different colored wristbands for people that have alcohol or people that have Elixir drinks. So then we know, you know, if somebody does walk outside with a drink, we know it's somebody with Elixir or something, you know, as opposed to.
We're confining them to the normal ABC requirements of
Yes.
the patio and the restaurant only.
Yeah.
And we're also intending to have our tree room available for people to come inside, maybe some artists inside doing some things to kind of make a flow of the restaurant, turn it into another venue. Yeah.
I really like the component that it's Friar Tuck's with Elixir with Curious Forge. I think it's cool when businesses get together and kind of come up with something that's.
I do, we're
Community.
excited. We met with them and
Grow.
on a side note, we're looking at doing a dinner with the Elixir to be a non-alcoholic pairing,
Yeah.
which would be really cool. Anyway, we're getting excited about that.
I'm not worried about the drinks from Elixir. Do the art walks close the street?
That section of Pine, yes.
Okay, all right, okay, so, all right. so
But
they're not-
predominantly, it's walking on the sidewalks to businesses,
Yeah, right.
and
That's
the
what I
artists
was-
are in the businesses to have people come in, but that section of Pine is also closed during art walk.
Okay, I was trying to understand that. And so then there would be 3 other street closures similar to that to allow for the 3 other dates?
Exactly.
6 months worth.
Yeah.
Well, I figure, I'm personally willing to go with this because I figure you'll know whether you exhausted your audience by the time you get to the last 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, well, we have the first one to really kick it off, see what works
Yeah,
and
exactly.
how it works. And then the art walk ones are going to be a lot easier and yeah, we'll,
And truly, I share the same safety concerns as everyone. I've been to the Forge, I've been in hot shops, I know there's an enormous amount of stuff, but dang, it gets hot in there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, outside on the street, it'll be easier. We've already been thinking of shades for the, June, July,
yeah.
and August.
But I
so.
think we're flagging that for you just to make sure, and that's what we'll all be looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes,
That's
we're
our
all
job.
professionals, so we'll work very hard to,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's see if we got any public comment on this. Come on up, Nancy. I'm sorry, Sheila.
Shirley.
Shirley. Yeah, sorry, Shirley.
Shirley it is. Hello, Shirley Frericks. I didn't know anything about this, but I read it, and I'm like, oh. And I would just like to suggest to the council that someone of you might want to go and see this operation at the Curious Forge. I've seen these demonstrations, and I don't know how they're going to scale it down to get it on a truck, but you're right. It's fire, it's aliveness, and it's exciting, but it's scary to me. Just
Yeah,
maybe
I
go have a
understood.
look.
I actually blew glass at the Curious Forge, and I would never show you how it came out.
You see the product.
So the furnace is actually very small. They used to be very big.
Yeah,
Nobody had like a furnace in their house ever, right? And in the last decade or so, we've had these scaling down of these furnaces so that people like Robert, who will be demoing, who teaches at the Curious Forge, he has one in his shed. He has a whole hot shop in his shed, and this one it's small. It's not, we're not making anything big, it's got to cool down, and we're not going all out. We're going to make some clear cups, see if we can make them survive without a kiln, do things like simple,
Okay, so any more comment? Good. Pleasure of the council. Looking for a motion?
Well, just to comment, I'd love to see that this happen and that it succeeds, and if it does succeed, to see it move maybe to Seven Hills as well.
Okay. Oh, great. Any comments or?
I just have one last comment. I hope this is successful. I love the hot glass, cold beer. I love that contrast. I feel it when you say it. 6 seems excessive to me. I'm willing to support it. My colleagues support it. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I hope they're all wildly successful.
Yeah, we do too.
We do too.
But from this vantage point, 6 seems like a lot.
Well, I think that 3 are with the art walk, so really what we're asking for is 3.
We understand.
Sure. Okay.
We get it, we get it.
Still
We're
6.
just
Okay.
doing our
Right,
thing here. And I hope you cool those glasses down so it doesn't become hot glass and warm beer. So now, council,
Gotta be cold beer.
It will be cold.
I know you said they'd be pre-made. So looking for a motion?
I move we approve and authorize the special event street closure requests per the submitted application.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
I'll second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Klein, second by Councilmember Cece. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece,
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein,
Yeah.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
thank you.
Awesome.
Go forth and blow.
You guys.
So we hope we come back with the next.
Please come and.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no,
1,000 people
no, we
showing
will
up
come and
next
keep
year.
an eye on you, I promise.
The whole community's wired about it, yeah.
Great.
And if you
Thank
know
you, Ken.
anybody who wants to be involved, just come see me.
You go see that.
You manage yourself very well, thank you. All right, so, okay, yes. Okay, it's all Shirley now. Consideration of the introduction of draft ordinance 2025-04, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Nevada City, State of California, adding Chapter 8.38 of the City of Nevada City Municipal Code regarding foodware and food packaging, and 2, calling for a public hearing for first reading of the ordinance, April 23rd, 2025.
Thank you, Mayor. In April of last year, you provided direction that the city develop an ordinance similar to the town of Truckee's single-use foodware reduction ordinance with the intention to ensure compliance with various recycling and solid waste laws that already exist, to ban styrofoam, which is a trade name of polystyrene, in single-use to-go containers, and to require the use of reusable foodware for on-site dining. On March 10th of this year, your Economic and Community Development Committee reviewed a draft ordinance and recommend the ordinance be considered for adoption by the City Council with some revisions. The attached draft ordinance includes the recommendations of the committee. Tonight, we're really coming to you to make sure that we're still on the right track. You're not approving it. You're not doing first reading. There's essentially no action tonight other than giving us direction. We've been working with the Chamber of Commerce on this since, I wrote 2023, but I think it's 2022 because it's one of the first things that I talked to Stuart about. And because many of our food vendors, many of our restaurants go above and beyond what the regulations are at any given time anyway. And so trying to support them in doing that while also catching up those that are maybe lagging a little bit behind has been on the radar for quite a while. The Chamber hosted the Town of Truckee staff who presented their ordinance progression. At the time, their ordinance hadn't gone into effect. It's a phased approach. It is in effect now. Their fee schedule just went into effect, their 25-cent charge per item. The Chamber Board subsequently took a support position for the ordinance last year. We've had a number of local food vendors that after we spoke with them that voluntarily went away from polystyrene. As far as I know, there's 3 left that have them. One added it back, but they had a change of ownership. We had met with essentially all of the food vendors in town at one point or another, but as you know, we had some changeover in ownership or different kind of restaurants, different styles. Trying to work with those folks. Yesterday, the City and the Chamber co-hosted a restaurant meeting. Councilmember Cici was there. We briefly covered the ordinance, asked for any questions or input. Again, there was general support for the concept. Part of this will be ultimately that we'll have to do inspections of these facilities, but we're going to need to anyway to enroll them in several of the programs that are either in place or coming down from CalRecycle. So this just gives us another opportunity to work with the businesses to get ahead of the game instead of, coming in with enforcement on something that, is unfunded mandate. So through the process that we went through previously, we learned that there were several unique items that needed to be addressed. The 2 that made it into the ordinance, well, first of all, there's a catch-all that people could seek an exemption from the requirements, but there's 2 that are written in that are hard-coded. One was there's a relatively famous ice cream place on Main Street downtown here that serves mostly ice cream on a cone, as the Chocolate Shop and other places that serve ice cream in town do. But occasionally somebody wants to have ice cream not on a cone, and for that occasional person, it's relatively business impractical to say that that has to be served in a reusable container. So instead of having glassware, they could serve it in paper. It would be exempt. They couldn't serve it in styrofoam. The other call out is for our movie theaters, and we also have a equally famous movie theater in the Seven Hills District that is expanding this year, and we'll have an amazing mural on the Searles side of it eventually. But equally impractical to require them to serve popcorn for a movie in a reusable container, so they'd have to buy stainless steel popcorn buckets, I guess. But again, they are already ahead of the curve using compostable popcorn buckets and collecting them and making sure that they're not entering the waste stream as it is. So those are 2 that are specifically called out there. Synopsis of kind of the key provisions of the ordinance. It applies to prepared food vendors, which is really a catch-all for anybody that touches food in any fashion. The only people that would sell food that it doesn't apply to are those that receive it fully packaged and sell it in the same condition. So if somebody, gets bags of chips and puts them on, the aisle and sells them as bags of chips, doesn't let you open them in the store, your classic convenience store, gas station, that wouldn't apply. However, if the gas station also sells heated food that's made, which all of our gas stations do, except for the one that doesn't have any employees in it, off of Cold Flat, they would be subject to this. So And it also includes ones that don't sell directly, wholesales like Ola Tortilla and things like that. It would go into effect August, the first part would go into effect August 2025, gives us time to, educate and work with the businesses and make sure that they understand what it is. But August 1st, 2025, expanded polystyrene would be prohibited for food packaging. The exceptions would be coolers or ice chests and food package outside of Nevada City. So if it came already in there, there is a call out though, specific that I want to mention is that that wouldn't apply to eggs. So SPD or Cal Organics would not be able to bring in eggs in styrofoam, even though that they're packaged somewhere else. To my knowledge, they don't. I've been in there and I've looked. Yeah, not anymore. So that's great. Anyway, also on August 1st, restaurants and other food vendors would not be able to provide any single-use foodware accessories, standard condiment packaging, unless requested by a customer. This is already a law in California. It's not enforceable by us. It can be enforced by us if we have an ordinance, but this just lets us work with the restaurants to make sure that they're doing that. By and large, they are. They ask if you want a side or a, fork or something to go. Also of note is that we're really talking about these things that are just to-go items, right? So not something where you sat down and ate and then you want to take it to go. They don't have to give it to you on the reusable plate, right? They get to use a to-go container. That's no longer a dine-in environment. I'm sure Shirley will talk about this when she comes up, but there's been several state laws that we think of as progressive, although there's other less progressive states that are further along in the process than us that seek to put the burden of recycling packaging on the package manufacturers and those that are selling the products, which are your large conglomerate kind of businesses. And one of those laws was well underway and was relatively recently stymied by an executive order of the governor, which stalled the process. Expanded polystyrene is technically illegal to sell and or to manufacture, sell, or intend to be sold in California because it didn't meet the recycling targets. That being said, you could still manufacture it, sell it to Bentonville, Arkansas, the home of Walmart, and then they could distribute it to California. So polystyrene can still come into California probably for the foreseeable future.
Okay, smarty pants.
Yes, ma'am.
That's it. Smarty pants.
Weeds.
So it's, in other words, it's not a foregone conclusion that prohibition from Cal Recycle will keep styrofoam out of our store. So it's still an important thing to do. And then the next step would be March 1st, 2026, food served for consumption on site would be subject to only with reusable foodware. The reason for that time gap there is we do have a couple places in town that don't do that today. And what that means is they have to put in dishwashing stations, which is not impossible, but it is something to do, right? So the two that I've talked to are, they're like, we've known this is coming for 25 years. We just, which I understand. But this wouldn't apply to your food vendors at, say, Victorian Christmas, because that's not dine-in, even though it, is there, they're out on the street. So they wouldn't be able to sell in styrofoam, but they could, they don't have to put it on reusable. So basically what we're looking for tonight is any input you have, obviously any public comment that comes forth, and make sure we're on the right track. And if so, then call for or just give us direction. We'll do a public hearing notice for April 23rd. It would be second reading on May 14th. Which would make it effective June 14th, but like I said, none of the provisions are operative until August 1st, giving us time to work with all the food vendors.
Okay. All right. Public comment. Shirley. It's the Shirley Show. Come on, Shirley.
Well, first, I really want to thank Stuart is the one, like, what, 3 years ago, whatever, that was the first one I started talking to. And then Gary, you were nice enough to jump in and say, let's try it. And then we brought it over. So I want to thank the executive committee and everyone who has put time and energy into this over these years. And I was
Nobody
really happy
more
to
than you, Shirley.
have this here. Thank you. But I just want to, say the overall, I mean, but the overall thing that Cal Recycle is concerned about is the methane, just like the food scrap thing. Those two are the highest producers of methane when they degrade. That's why, this one is a complement to the 1383 to try and reduce that methane. And I'm really pleased that the people, that the restaurateurs have picked it up as easily as they have. I think it's been relatively easy, hasn't it, Sean? Yeah, that because they're conscious, which is really nice about our community. They're conscious people. They want to do the right thing. I think even Fred's changed over, right?
They did.
This is big.
Institution.
This is big. So thank you again. I just, that I'm pleased that we're doing this and for the good of the planet and good for the community, as well. And so we'll look forward to the public meetings and we'll have a celebration in May. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, Shirley.
Shirley.
Other public comment? Seeing none, back to the council. This is a recommendation that we don't have to take an action other than to recommend,
And set a public hearing date.
set a public hearing date.
Which has been named.
Yes, the April 23rd date, unless you wanted to go somewhere else.
I think April 23rd is a great time. Let's do it then.
It's one of the best days of the year.
Your birthday? Or, oh,
You know.
It's the,
oh, I know
it's
it's
the
not.
day after Earth Day, right?
I
Good day.
just sitting here talking about it, another food vendor on city property occurred to me, and maybe this falls under the same thing as the booths on Victorian Christmas or something like that. The Little League field. I get nachos there. It's been a while, so I don't remember. I hope they're not still using styrofoam. Maybe it's paper baskets. But
So,
Don was out there the other day, sent me a picture of the burger. It looks so good. Don, our Parks and Rec manager, for those watching at home. It was served in a paper container with a paper liner. So,
Excellent.
and eventually those could be composted if we had a composting
you eat that
program
nacho
out there.
cheese sauce?
I meant to go. To go to a game over the weekend. Completely forgot.
They will be subject to the same rules.
Yeah. Well, I'll be checking that out then.
I'm going to watch your
Report
calls.
back.
I'm going to monitor you.
Do you not enjoy,
I enjoy
nachos?
nachos with real cheese on them, yes, not the nacho cheese sauce.
Boring.
Yeah, come on, man.
Glows in the dark.
You want to live as long as me and
I'm
Danielle,
all
you
in
got to.
favor of cheese.
Already lived longer than you and Danielle.
Jury's still out on that. Science is missed.
Yeah, that's not what it's correct. Okay. All right, looking, so,
We like that public hearing?
Bring it back, I'll take it.
yeah, bring
Yeah.
it back,
Yeah.
bring it back,
Okay.
bring it back.
Great.
Yes, we could do a bio break
Excellent.
Thank you.
at the request. Because he's just looking at the next item of 42 items.
Just
crammed into
reading
one.
that title's gonna
Just reading the
clear out
title.
the rest of
Yeah,
the
well,
night.
So yes?
Okay.
That's Evan's fault.
Yeah. It's Gonna bring it back to order here. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna try and read this. This might be harder than the resolutions. The proclamations. All right. Item 14, consideration of one, introduction of ordinance 2025-02, an uncodified ordinance of the City Council of the City of Nevada City to designate fire hazard severity zones. 2, introduction of ordinance 2025-03, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Nevada City to amend Chapter 15-16, Chapter 15.16.010 of the Municipal Code entitled Zones Designated by the Fire Chief. And 3, setting a public hearing for first reading of ordinance 2025-03 and 2025-03, okay, on April 23rd, 2025. Oh, okay, I'm losing. Approval of a low-income seniors and access and functional needs defensible space assistance program. And 5, a presentation on the 2025 defensible space inspection process. And 6, approval of the additional pilot biochar burn permit allowances prior to the start of fire season 2025. Did you bring your sleeping bag?
No, I brought the energy.
Good.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Council, pleasure to be in front of you tonight. As you read, this is quite a marathon of an item, so we will take it in chunks. We'll start with the first 2. The first item in front of you is designating the fire hazard severity zones. These are basically mandated from the state, comes from CAL FIRE and the Department of Forestry, and they, factor in a lot of different factors, wind, modeling, hazard, risk, all these good things, and produce these maps. Long story short, our maps did not change. We were very high, we remained very high. All local response areas do have to adopt these maps, and Grass Valley had it in front of them, the county will have it in front of them. So this is our role in adopting these maps. Once again, our maps did not change. The Fire Safety Advisory Committee did review these maps. Part of the component of reviewing them is you must make it available to the public. We've done that. It's been on our website for quite some time now, 2 or 3 months, and it will remain there until we formally adopt them. People can email me, contact me if they do have comments or concerns. I haven't received really any from Nevada City specific residents. I've received some from the county, and I obviously direct them where need be. The second part of it, the number 2 that you see in front of you, is when we did start looking through this and adopting our current maps, our ordinances were not quite up to date. They stated that the fire chief could change the designations. State law does not allow that. You can go from less severe to more severe, but you cannot go from more severe to less severe. So that is that change that you see in that wording, and that's why you have that's why you have 2 ordinances that you need to schedule public hearings for, is to be in compliance with those parameters. With that, I'll let the city manager add anything that I might have missed, but right now you are just scheduling those public hearings for those ordinances, and then we would adopt them thereafter.
Why don't we take that piece, because we got to piece this out and get this right, so why don't we go ahead and do that? Public comment. See none. I would, as always, go to Councilmember Ceci and myself as co-chairs of the Fire Safety Advisory Committee.
Yes, thank you, Evan, for that very clear summary. If any of the people listening at home are interested in looking at the effects of the biochar pilot project, dig into the weeds of the, what is the agenda?
Councilmember, we're just doing the first.
The first one? Okay, never mind. The first one, fine.
I'll be even more excited for that one.
There is a question about the wording of the ordinance. Is that relevant now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, section 15.16.010, part A, the fire chief, and then it's lined out in red, and then the word designate. And so the rest of the sentence doesn't make any sense with those lines
That's actually the next.
crossed out. Is the whole thing supposed to be crossed out?
Do you have it on the screen there, Sean?
Yeah, I do.
Do you see it? The fire chief is hereby authorized to, and the phrase is hereby authorized to has been lined out. Is that correct?
let's see here. So it is, that is not correct. That should not be crossed out.
Okay.
It's the C item.
I see. It's completely eliminated.
Is completely eliminated.
But the words "is hereby authorized to" stay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then when you, presuming you make this change, this ordinance will continue to exist, and 10 years from now, when they update the maps again, and you adopt by ordinance, you adopt the new maps again, then the fire chief will again be authorized to transmit your ordinance and approval to the state. That's what that portion means, so that should not be stricken. So when we bring that back for the public hearing, that will be removed.
Thank you.
Other? Good. It's all red. Maps are all red. Yeah, and we did review this, as we do with the Fire Safety Advisory Committee, with a recommendation that we move this forward. So I'm looking for let's see, this is a consideration. We're looking for a motion on this one, because it's not an ordinance, or?
Don't need anything other than, as long as you want it to come back at the next meeting.
Yes, and set the public hearing.
Yep.
Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, onward.
Great, so we'll move to number 4 on this item. Approval of a low-income seniors and access functional needs defensible space assistance program. This, once again, was in front of the Fire Safety Advisory Committee and went through 1 or 2 refinements. In front of you, you have an attachment that goes through the details of that program, what the services will cover. It's not any intense limbing or getting on roofs or anything like that where we might jeopardize safety or liability on the homeowner side of things. It's really just brush clearing, debris clearing, and things along those lines. The parameters are also listed out in front of you there for what incomes would qualify. I would be careful in making sure that we are clear that the baseline is that you are low income, and then you must be either have access and functional needs or be elderly, 65 plus. So low income is the baseline there, and then you must meet one of those other 2 criteria. If you all approve this program, we are able to accept all the forms of qualifications through our software FireAside, which will make the admin side of it and user side much more friendly than some old school ways. So it's all kind of one-stop shop. People get their defensible space report on that same software, and then they will also have a tab to basically enter this information, and then on the back end, staff can review it and approve or not approve. And then we would schedule our fire fuels crew. So this would be city crews conducting this work to complete that work with the homeowner. A couple other items, they must have current inspection on file with us through that software in order to qualify. So that means that they've met with me or Camille or another staff member to go over those priorities, so everyone's on the same page of what services would be provided. The Fire Safety Advisory Committee did recommend that the council approve this program. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the Access and Functional Needs Program.
Okay.
And just for clarification, because we've gotten a number of questions, the county announced a very similar program about almost 2 years ago now on a FEMA grant. They were told they would be awarded the grant. All the information went out. It's very similar, but wouldn't have applied in the city. This doesn't apply in the county. Their money has been held up. That FEMA grant's been held up, unfortunately. The funding for this is Measure C. This is something that's specifically listed in the voter initiative that passed that taxation and is in the budget already. So you're not approving additional funds to be expended. We allocated them, you allocated them in the mid-year budget, but this is the program that lets Evan and the team go out there and actually do it.
Mm-hmm. Great. All right, any public comment? See none? Council members?
I have a question. Evan, can you tell us a little bit about the process of, I know you said that it's going to be on the same website as the defensible space. Can you tell us about your process to make sure we're effectively reaching the people who need this the most?
Yeah, absolutely. we've kind of already began our process for defensible space. You'll receive a whole report on our defensible space inspection program here shortly, which embeds how we kind of do some of the outreach and how we connect with folks. What I always tell people too is, I am more than happy if technology is not your thing. I'll come to your door. We'll drop off a PDF. We'll do paper applications because I know that's a concern in this community. So we're happy to accommodate anyway, anyhow. But the typical process is every single home will receive a defensible space notice, basically, that will have a QR code. They can log in there and then have my contact, phone number, email, multiple means to contact city staff. And then we make sure that we can, follow up on properties that might need some follow-up for more enforcement side of things. But then for this program, more so, we will know if people have opened that report. And then if they haven't opened the report, we can touch base again if it is not in compliance. So we would do that. We go door to door, we'll knock, talk to neighbors, things like that. Rely on some of the Firewise communities as well. So I know that's kind of a multifaceted answer to your one question, but
But it's also really
right.
clear.
All
Yeah.
means we'll try to accomplish to reach folks.
Awesome. I love that.
And
Thank
it's
you so
also
much.
the first thing we do last year and this year. If a property is not in compliance, the first thing we do is what are the hurdles and how can
Right.
we accomplish coming over those hurdles as efficiently as possible.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Comment? Councilor Cici? I just wanted to comment that, along the lines that Sean did. This was embedded in Measure C as a component of what we would do with Measure C money, and it's important. It's also cleverly done, so we make the grants to pay our people to do the work. Is that right? Kind of, right?
It's allocating basically staff time and
there
resources
you
to
go.
do the work.
Yeah, okay, good. And your communications, and I just want to say, I mentioned this to you the other day, but you guys have really stepped up the communication, and it's very effective, it's very clean, very clear, and I know it's all Camille, so.
It is.
Under your
Honestly,
guidance.
Huge shout out to Camille. She does a lot of
She does a lot of
outreach
great work.
and
Yeah.
impact and
Doing
side
great.
things.
Okay, we will
And
take
Sutter.
this,
Yes.
we will take this one separately. Of course. Looking for a motion?
I move we approve the program.
I second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Cici?
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein?
Yes.
And Mayor Peterson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, number 5, I think.
Yep.
Believe
You
so.
got it.
All right, so we have a quick presentation, once again with the help of Camille that really did a lot of the legwork on this presentation, to share with you and the community our plan for the upcoming 2025 defensible space inspections. As you know, last year we kind of overhauled the program with this new software, and it was much more community-centric. We're using that same software, using that same approach this year. And I'm Evan McClenathan, your Community Risk Reduction Officer, if you didn't know that.
Yes, you are.
Next slide.
That's not your full title.
It's even longer than that. There's
Other
education,
duties as
outreach,
assigned,
and
yes.
something else. So why do we do defensible space inspections? I think I promised you last year that I was going to share this slide every single time I talk about defensible space inspections because
remember it.
I think it's incredibly important that we center ourselves on the importance of why we do this work. As we've seen with current devastating wildfires, what we do to our properties, and even as we get closer to the structure of our properties, is absolutely vital to prevent structures from igniting, right? That's the whole goal here, is to prevent structures from igniting, because once we have that in a wildfire scenario, it gets very difficult to maintain, right, and to control. So if the community can be prepared on a much larger scale, we're going to be much more successful in suppression efforts. And this isn't just Evan saying this is facts. This comes from lots of research that came from reports out of the Camp Fire. They're currently doing lots of reports from the Palisades fires. And the state is looking at incorporating a lot more into their codes, specifically in that 0 to 5 zone, which I'll hit at a little bit later. Next slide, please. This is the checklist. There's a lot on this checklist. Why I provide this is because it's quite helpful if you are trying to get ready for your inspection or get your property ready. It lists basically by line item the exact things we'll be looking at. It's available on our website, and also we sent out a mass email to everyone that opened the report last year, and we got a good 10 or 14 already, and we sent that out yesterday. We're hoping for more to get kind of a pre-inspection so we can go over this checklist, do the inspection, and get folks ready. And then those are less ones we have to do in May.
Is that a more thorough inspection than you do for?
If we're meeting with a property owner, it's definitely going to be more thorough because they're, definitely willing to get more information and walk the whole property with us and everything like that. So, yes. This matches our ordinance directly. So these items that you see in there are from that ordinance that you all approved back in 2023, March. Next slide. This is a little bit about our software, Fireside. It's really, I'd say, leading edge technology. Not that many communities use it. Truckee uses it, and a lot of communities in the Bay Area. It is really nice because on the back end, we can get tons of data. What communities might be struggling with certain things, gaps in our education, who isn't accessing their reports. It's really interesting. The Gold Flat area of Nevada City, we had very little engagement with, right? But the Deer Creek South Side, we had tons of engagement with. A lot of folks opening up those reports. So it's telling us on our back end that we could definitely do more education, more outreach in those areas. And from this, we established some home hardening workshops that we have in Pioneer Park that's closer to that community and things like that. And it also shows us where the community needs to grow. So is that in that 0 to 5 zone? Is that in zone 1, zone 2? Are there just certain debris things, gutters? Are those the critical issues? Is it screening? Is that the critical issue? Or is vegetation the critical issue? So we really got a good idea from last year. And then now it's going to be an interesting process because we don't, through the software, do necessarily a new inspection, but we go back to last year's inspection and we go basically by line items of what we saw last year and change those items as if they're still there. Are they different? Are they worse? And then we resolve those issues if they're fixed, or we keep them if they're not. But the report will basically look the same though on the user end. So really nice because it does provide pictures. It is very user friendly. Folks can call us or message us if they can't get into those reports and things like that. So really, really helpful tool to have. And like I said, that assistance program will be embedded in this. So it allows us to build up our programming too and assistance programs. This is that notice that we're going to be sending out this year, or we'll be delivering in person to a mailbox or to a door or to a person underneath there that you see. So it lists out the city resources that are available. We have the green waste bin in Pioneer Park. We have still $100 for 100 homes to do simple home hardening activities, and also some educational materials on that handout. And we're going to be hitting every single parcel again this year, as we did last year, with this same approach. Next slide. When we come to your door, we have to write a unique code somewhere on this report, and we do that on that nice little line there where it says XYZ. The property owner then, or tenant, has to input that code with their address into the software, and that's all you need to access the report. And that opens up that communication for us and allows us to, once again, see that data, see what's going on and everything like that, and allows the user to see their whole report and resolve issues on their own and all those good things. So you make a quick account, phone number, email, and then this is an example of what that report looks like. You see a cover photo of your property and then the listed items that we noticed. So it's broken down into 2 areas, defensible space and home hardening. If we're walking with folks that wanted us to come to their properties, they're probably going to have a lot more home hardening ones because a lot of those ones are hard to see when we're just on the street and doing the masses. But when we do spend that one-on-one time with folks, we definitely add a lot into the home hardening category. And I would note too, this past year we tried to highlight certain things like in our downtown, which places had metal roofs, which one had wood siding. So we are focusing our approach so we get better data on programming that we can then offer. The really neat thing too is, and what we really want to hit at this year, and we'll be pushing out a lot of content on, whether that's social media or a website or when we're talking to folks, is people trying to resolve issues. We did not have many folks do that in city limits last year. What this looks like is you do have to go, same thing, you log in, you access your report, and then for each item you can click on that we took a picture of, each issue, and then you can upload a picture of it resolved. So
did
you can
mine.
show those bushes you removed, you can show that tree you limbed, and you can also tell us maybe how much that cost and how much time you spent, so we know what effort our community's putting in, and then, once again, like I said, offer support where we can. So this was a little bit of the data, more so kind of on a picture side of things, not so much number, so qualitative, you could say. This shows you how many folks opened and didn't open the report. We were about 50% of folks that opened the report. We're going to definitely try to push for higher this year. But that's 600 folks that did actually get this piece of education, got information about their property, and hopefully took some action. We're going to hope to increase that this year, of course. What you see below where that arrow is pointing is vegetation in Zone 0, right? I am going to focus, I think, on the next slide a little bit more about Zone 0 because I tell people this is really where you can make the highest impact for structure resistance to igniting and the lowest cost. So low cost, high impact. And as you see, it was a huge item that we saw in our community. So with that, next slide. This is a picture from that Palisades fire. What you see is what a firefighter does typically when they get to a structure to protect it from embers and wildfire. They go to that Zone 0. I've done this myself on wildfires, and they remove any combustible material out of that zone. So I know people might have attachment to things in this zone, but I am very clear that you are being the hero when you clear Zone 0, because this is what firefighters are going to do when they get to your home in a wildfire scenario to help it survive. So this is work that we can do right now that is fairly low cost and very high impact. So you may get sick of seeing that or hearing that, but I do want to drive that home because it is something that is very tangible, right? We have lots of fear around wildfire, a lot of fear of losing our structures, but this is something we can do right when we get home that can increase our chances of a structure withstanding a wildfire. So with that, thank you for keeping Nevada City safer from wildfire and all our residents that have been quite proactive in doing this work. And we look forward to connecting with those folks that need further education and help and assistance. And this council has been great in providing those programs. So appreciate that and appreciate our community doing this work.
Okay.
Information will be on the website. It'll go out in the newsletter, which is the May-June newsletter. And obviously, everyone has Evan's contact information for more. We just wanted to share this before people started getting the notices and asking the council.
Yes.
And we don't need any action unless you have direction.
But I was still going to take public comment.
You should.
Okay.
Do you want me to put it up?
None. So, do you do neighbor conflict resolution?
That's a big part of the job, yeah. We always...
It really is, because my neighbors, I did my stuff.
What I tell folks is, we always recommend first trying to have those conversations with your neighbors, because sometimes that is 500 times easier than the city coming in between it, right? If you've tried that and it's not successful and it's a pretty bad situation, please contact us and we will try to do our best to rectify the situation. But definitely, right, we have a neighbor-to-neighbor initiative, and using that community aspect of it and that neighbor-to-neighbor approach is hugely effective. We see that in our Firewise communities where neighbors are doing the legwork of getting that communication out and making those statements to the people in their community, and it's much more successful, right? Because you don't want your neighbor that lives with you right down the street, usually in most cases, to be upset with you. But I completely understand that's not always the case.
Every neighborhood has one.
We are happy to explore, what we can do in those situations. And I tell folks, right, because in these inspections, we do not try to invade people's privacies and go in backyards. That if they do have a backyard, that's a huge concern of theirs, please contact us and we'll do our best to rectify that situation.
I understand Councilmember Cece gives tours of the perfect 0 to 5 zone.
Well, I have to do my weeding, though, before you come by.
He built his in. He got high praise from.
I have a question. Just a sort of question about the nuance of housing in our community. I'm a renter. Some renters, like my girlfriend Jana, have landlords that take care of the yard, and then some renters, like myself, am fully responsible for the yard work at my house. So I guess I'm just curious. I'm looking at almost half the people opened, the reports and just thinking about that, I imagine you guys are thinking about renters versus homeowners. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Absolutely. Great question. That was a
Yeah.
bit of a learning curve for me last year when we started this process. Something we're going to try to do to close that gap too is last year, all we did was the door hanger on the property. This year, we're going to use the same software to pull the address and send it to the actual place of mailing for the property. So not the person that's living there necessarily, but the responsible party that on file has their address. So we'll be hitting both bases there. And then also, when I've met with renters that are responsible for the property, trying to provide what assistance we can. And then also if the landowner wants to talk, and then I'm always offer my card and say, let's get all parties together and see what we can do.
Great. I'm glad you're thinking that way. Thank you.
Other question? Okay, we received that presentation. Item number 6.
Last but not least, this is a continuation of the biochar allowance. So a couple months ago, this council approved a one-time use of a biochar kiln at the co-housing property. In your report here at the last attachment, you have pictures of how that went. You can see the kiln in action. You can see what that looks like. I would qualify it with the fact that this is a flame cap kiln. So the way it is supposed to be utilized is when you see a flame on top, because that means that it is working the way it should be, that the combustion is at a temperature that is working properly, that there's less smoke emission. The flames are basically eating the smoke, which is what we want to see. So I know those photos can maybe look a little scary because you see so much flames. So from that one-time use, there was no complaints that I received or that I've heard the community or council has received. There was 6 to 7 burn pile equivalents mitigated at the site. And there was also lots of that biochar carbon-rich byproduct produced. So with the metrics we set forth when this council established that, I would qualify that as a success. With that, the Fire Safety Advisory Committee reviewed it and then recommended that the council move forward with continued allowances, with the city sponsoring 2 workshops, one at the Hirschman's property and one at the old airport, where the city, with the Biochar Coalition, who is also present at the co-housing burning and are great educators and motivators and communicators, right? Around biochar, and the beautiful thing about them is they state that their mission is to not exist because they want everybody to have a biochar device and know how to use it properly. So quite interesting and fun group to work with, but we would host these workshops in tandem with them with their devices because they bring the device, and we would also qualify. I know this council had some concerns when we did the one-time use of people's experience and comfort level around fire, with the fact that they must attend one of these workshops or a already permitted burn of the device in city limits. So they have that experience and hands-on knowledge to move forward, because there is a way to do this wrong and we don't want people using it incorrectly. So making sure that they've gone through this educational process will be hugely beneficial, that they use the device properly and with the lowest impact to the community.
No cold beers with the hot flame.
No.
So it almost got hot enough to blow glass, though. So all of the other conditions that this council put into place for the permit stay in place with the addition that you need to attend a workshop to experience the process.
Right, attendance at the workshop or an already permitted burn, because like at the co-housing event, right, if somebody went to that event and had that same experience with the Biochar Coalition, I would see, it's an equivalent experience.
Lou and I could do it.
Correct. If you met all the other parameters.
Okay. All right.
I would also add one other component. These 2 workshops would be hosted with the Neighbor to Neighbor grant. Butte County has done this successfully already through the same coalition and the same grant. So it kind of seems like a great nexus. Theirs was a great success, and they told folks to go into the woods and gather some material and meet their neighbors and then come back with it and put it into the kiln. So that's how they built that neighborhood connection. Maybe we'll do the same, maybe we won't. But I do want to tie in that neighborhood piece because it's an important component.
Yeah, great, thank you. Public comment? Okay. Lou,
Sure.
yeah.
Have you gotten requests for another pilot? Because
Not directly, but I've heard community members say other community members
Yeah.
might have interest.
Yeah, I've received one from a property on Gold Flat who said, we've got acres and acres and tons of burn piles. We want to do this.
Do we know offhand is co-housing planning on doing another one?
They would, I would imagine, be very excited to do another one.
Great. That's great. Everyone was happy.
Like I
and-
said, we did 6 to 7 piles, but I believe there was at least 6 or 7 more immediately right there. And it's not even including the other ravines and areas
Yeah.
on their property.
Yeah, Councilmember Cece and I both participated and checked it out. I was really fascinated to see the pictures. It looks like Chuck Durrett was actually doing real work or something, maybe just
Suspenders on and everything.
Suspenders on and everything. I think this is, I've said this many times, is that, we need to figure out how to put this tool back in our toolbox. There's just some places where we are that we're going to have to burn, and to figure it out, slowly reintroducing it into the community with the right criteria. I think this is the way to go. And I really like the training pieces, which also allow us and our staff to master the tool and use it in a couple of critical areas for us as well. And yeah, those biochar people, man, they're devoted. They are devoted. Okay, we're looking to approve the resolution.
I move we approve the additional biochar burn permit allowances.
Second.
Councilmember Cece?
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes. And Evan, I just want to say you're doing an amazing job.
Agreed.
Seriously. You have stood something up from pretty much, there was nothing there, and you just built an amazing program, you've built an amazing team, and you're doing exactly what you said you would do and exactly what we need to happen. So thank you for your effort.
Thank you, council, and the great staff that I am fortunate to work with.
See what a leader you are. You're so good.
It's not very animated, though. It's just
He's just not animated. And,
He's pretty meek and
he's
quiet.
grumpy and nobody likes him either. Thank you, Evan. All right, Brian, you're up. This is consideration of Nevada City 2024 Water Consumer Confidence Report and process for service line notification.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So we're going to talk about water after fire. And, so we do this every year. It's the Consumer Confidence Report, and but this year, based on recommendations from Sean and help from Bethany, our community services technician, we've got a much more easier to read report and a cover page. So it's basically provides information at a glance, but it has the same information in the report. We test for 18 different constituents, and we had no exceedances. So it describes all the compliance with EPA regulations. So pretty rigorous requirements for drinking water standards. And so Brandon Pierce, our plant manager, isn't able to make it tonight, but he's doing a great job with his staff and staying on top of this. So we in the report that's now on the city's website, it's in color, and it just makes it easier to read, but it's got all of the test results, definitions for the technical language, and just describes what's being tested, why it's being tested, and what the potential hazards are with those, with just the potential contaminants that aren't there, but we're making sure they're not there with these tests. So that's the water quality report, and we've got a second part to this presentation that's related to the service lines, but I'll take any questions on the Consumer Confidence Water Quality Report.
Any questions?
Was there any noticeable differences from last year's report that would indicate something changing?
No.
Steady?
Either not detectable below limits, yeah, nothing nothing of concern.
Great.
So part of this is a big thank you to Bethany and Brian and Brandon for changing the way we do this.
Yeah.
We have always met the minimum requirements of the water board in doing this report, posting it on our website. But there's been lots of places that have done surveys on this, and it's like 99% or higher don't ever read or engage with this information. And of those that do, it's like high 90s that never get past page 1. It's just, they're difficult to digest. When you put color gradients in it, when you put explanations, and especially when you put something, that is easy to read on the front end, it lets people engage with it a lot more. And we do have, safe, clean drinking water in this community. Not all communities do, but it's important that people have an opportunity to, not everybody's going to read it. We're probably going to get 10% that read this year, but that would be great. There was nothing wrong with what was happening before, but this is a market improvement for the opportunity to gauge the community on the water that they drink every day.
Thank you. No, I was going to make a comment about that because the importance of continuing to improve our information so that it's accessible and understandable by the people who live in our community. That's our job, is to communicate in a way where these things can be understood. And this is a light year or two away from where we were. I've read all the other, I've seen a gazillion reports like the ones we used to do, and your eyes roll up in your head, and especially if you're a regular person, you're like, what? So this is a great improvement. So thank you, Brian, and thank you to Bethany as well. It's really a great improvement.
Maximum residual disinfectant level goal, MRDDL.
I check for for fluoride. Okay, you're.
Don't go there.
Yeah. Don't go there. Okay, you're up, Brian.
All right, so this will be,
Coming up.
this is on the website, but it'll be also described in the newsletter with the link in the newsletter. And so we also have another requirement from EPA to inventory all the water service lines to make sure there's no lead or copper.
Is the EPA still a thing?
Well, they pass everything down to the state, and the
Yeah.
state's the one we hear from, but
Exactly.
the laws come from EPA. But, so we've spent quite a bit of time inventorying each and every water service line in detail, and turned that all into the state, and they said, that's great, but we want to know what's on the customer side also.
Really?
So we need to do a customer survey, get as much information as we can from customers about what their line is made of. So a letter went out today to all water customers, and it basically asks for a real simple form to be filled out either on paper or online. This is online on our website.
Is this between the meter and the house?
Yeah, yep. We have to
Interesting.
identify what type of pipe that is and keep an inventory of that. And if it's plastic or anything installed after early 80s, it's most likely fine, totally fine.
Copper.
But we have an old city, so we have a lot of
Yeah.
steel pipe, iron pipe,
Yeah.
and that's also fine. But there can be other types of pipe that is not okay. And there's different ways of identifying it with a scratch test, magnetic, that's described in our letter about how to practically identify your pipe. So
We're going to compare your response rate with Evan's response rates.
We're going to put it on Evans inspections next year, and then it'll just be fixed.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so that'll be in the newsletter also, but the letters already went out.
Okay, great. Well, I'd be interested to hear how that goes. A lot of head scratching. I can hear the head scratching from here. What? Okay. And we were to receive and file this report? Duly noted? Done?
Yeah.
Public comment? Okay.
Perfect.
I think we're good. Thank you,
All right,
Brian.
thank you.
And again,
Thanks, Brian.
great improvement on that report. Really, really good.
Very readable.
Yeah. Let's see, you guys been hanging around for something? Item 16. Should talk to the mayor so he could move these things up for you sometime. Consideration of a facility use application for the band shell and adjoining portions of Pioneer Park, including extended hours request for the Scary Vor event on July 26, 2025, and the Jerry Bash celebration on August 2nd, 2025. Take it away.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Lon Peterson, Assistant City Manager for the city. Joining me tonight is Lindsay Mullen from the Miners Foundry, and she will be going over these two events this evening for you to consider. So with that, Lindsay?
Woo-hoo.
Thanks, Lon. Hi, Mayor Peterson. Hello, City Council members. Thank you for your consideration of these two proposed events at Pioneer Park this year. The first one is Scary Vor, which some of you might not have heard of, but this group actually sold out the Miners Foundry 4 years, so a very popular group. This could be a special opportunity for Nevada City to present the internationally acclaimed Scottish band Scary Vor at Pioneer Park. Would have a lot of key benefits, including economic impact, community enrichment, accessible entertainment, international appeal, and with an expected attendance of 500 to 700 people, a nice little bump for the economy. We envision this event not just as a concert, but a community gathering that celebrates music, culture, and togetherness. With your support, we can bring this vibrant, high-energy experience to Pioneer Park and continue building on the success of past performances. Some of the event details are load-in would be 9 a.m. to Pioneer Park with gates at 4 p.m., event ending at 10 p.m., load-out and strike completed by 11:59 p.m. with some rental items picked up the following day.
I'm just going to take this pause. I have to recuse myself. I just dawned on me. I live right next to the park. So I'm going to go sit over here. And Vice Mayor Klein's going to run the show here. You're up.
Thanks, Mayor Peterson, and we appreciate you being a good neighbor to our events.
Indeed.
So our second event proposed is the 29th Annual Jerry Bash, which I'm sure a lot of you are really familiar with. Jerry Bash is a beloved community celebration honoring the life and music of Jerry Garcia, bringing people together in the spirit of unity, creativity, and good vibes. Attendees can enjoy live music throughout the day from Band Beyond Description, Painted Mandolin, the Haphazard String Band, and Los Niños Muertos. Delicious food from local vendors and refreshing libations from the Miners Foundry Bar, artisan vendors, and unique local crafts, a festive, family-friendly atmosphere in the beautiful Sierra foothills with an expected attendance of 800 to 1,000 attendees. This event continues to be a cherished summer tradition in Nevada County, and we are grateful for the opportunity to celebrate with the community once again. We invite the board's continued support in making Jerry Bash 2025 another safe, joyful, and memorable event for all. And our event details, pretty similar to Scary Vor, except that we would ask to load in and set up the day before, which is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday, with gates opening on Saturday, 1:30 p.m., event ending 10 p.m., load out and strike completed by 11:59 p.m., with some items picked up the following day.
Great, thanks, Lindsay. Couple things to note, because it's in the band shell and because the extended hours, that's where I bring it to council. Also unique in this is that these are a few of the events that we talked about supporting when we are in the transition for the Miners Foundry. These two, well, especially Jerry Bash, were always allocated as a fundraiser, but really it's put on by the Miners Foundry staff in coordination with Christian at KMVR. So there's a lot of collaboration already. It is a big part of supporting the Miners Foundry and the staff that do the work there. What's unique in this is the Scary Vor element is the week before. The intent is to use the same footprint that Jerry Bash has with the fence that goes around that small area. And the intent is to keep costs down for the foundry. They would keep the fences up with in the park, but then open up the middle area in between the edge of the playground over to the tennis courts, like open that section up, keep the fencing on site, but open the park up and then move that back for Cherry Bash, and then that evening or the next morning, get rid of the fencing. So with that, do you have any questions?
I was going to say, is there any public comment before we proceed? Is there anyone who lives near the park who would like to weigh in? Unbiased neighbor, just.
So essentially, Mr. Vice Mayor, essentially what we're saying is that the city's assuming responsibility for taking this event now because we're operating the Foundry. By then, we'll own, and, you know, Lindsay is an amazing employee of the Foundry, will be an amazing employee for the city, but by then this will be solely the city's responsibility to execute. So we're asking for permission for the city to do its own thing, but that's what we're supposed to do, follow our own rules. But just to be clear that this is, you know, essentially on us, but the work is going to be done by the people that have always done it anyway, because it went just fine the last decade without me or Lon. I'm sure it'll be just fine under Lindsay's command for the next decade as well.
Yeah, and just to Sean's, Christian Gutt from KMVR has been a big advocate for this and big supporter, donating his time. He's committed to doing that again this year and make sure we're moving forward in the right way. Whether he's involved in the future, we'll see. We'd love him to be, but either way, he's graciously committed his time again this year for this event.
Great. Okay. Lou, anything?
No, wonderful presentation, thank you. Very clearly worded.
And thank you to Kimberly Bass for helping me with that.
You have anything?
No, I mean, I guess we can't say no since it's ours to do anyways, right?
You can. You could.
Yeah, don't be too hard on yourselves here.
No, I'm super excited for this. It sounds great. I'm interested in this Scottish. What kind of Scottish music is it?
It's multi-genre, so it's rock, Celtic, and Kimberly, rock, Celtic.
Scarivore.
It's Scarivore.
They're one of the best bands out of Scotland. They're very popular.
It's going to be a very good cross-genre, so we'll hopefully get a lot of attendees who are interested in different types of music.
Yeah,
That sounds
and
awesome.
My understanding is the opening band for that is also in that same vein, but they do covers, but they do it in that style. So they'll do like a
Excellent.
Metallica song, but then
Yeah.
very Celtic. So I'm interested to see that.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It ties also in with the theme of the Celtic Festival, which
Sure.
is nice, because it seems like we have that influence happening.
Absolutely.
Is-
Thanks.
It's just the way my American brain reads that band name. Is Scaryvore spooky at all? They're
No,
not scary.
Not
and-
unless you're afraid of kilts.
You need to.
Okay, I'm not afraid of kilts. I celebrate kilts. This is like scary and carnivore smashed into one word. I'm like, this is.
Carnivore.
Adam,
You guys are
I
terrifying.
shared that when I first heard it, I thought, was this a Halloween? Like, I wasn't really
Yeah, it
sure
looks
right
like
off the bat.
a
yes.
metal band.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
it's-
sure what the origins of the name is, but yeah.
It actually does have a.
It probably has an actual Celtic origin.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. And Jerry Bash, August 2nd, celebrating not only Jerry's birthday on August 1st, but also Diana Gamzon's birthday on August 4th, in equal measure as far as I'm concerned. Sounds great. Thank you so much. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve.
Second.
Let's take a roll call vote.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cece?
Yes.
You guys got me all goofed up. Vice Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
A lighthouse.
A lighthouse?
A lighthouse.
In Scotland.
All right.
So
There you go.
Scarivore is a place.
I figured it was something like that.
Thank you for the presentation. That's very good.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Wow, look, we did it. So, reports of future agenda items. Our illustrious city manager, he liked it when I called him that before, so I'll keep calling him that. So,
I did put ubiquitousness in.
no kidding. I had to
thing
say
that you
it.
had to read this earlier in the
and
meeting.
you're still illustrious. So.
That stops in July, Sean.
No, the one that got me was the infinity quote, infinity and beyond.
Next Monday, the 14th, the Economic and Community Development Group with Councilmember Fernandez and Vice Mayor Klein will meet to take up the short-term rental ordinance. For those watching at home, it's already posted online, so go to our website, click on agendas and minutes, find the Economic and Community Development Committee there, and see what that ordinance looks like. We've had a lot of attendance at those meetings. We've sent information out to everyone that has given us their email or attended those meetings and expressed interest in that, but would love to see everybody there. The only other big thing of note before our next city council meeting is on Thursday, April 17th, our USC team will give their final presentation on our local economic development plan for the city. Lon, Lisa, and I will be down there to receive that presentation, as will the other 4 cities that are in the competition. They are all brand X cities, 100,000 people somewhere in California. I'm sure they'll get wonderful plans, but, we're kind of unique and special in a lot of ways. So I'm really excited to see that plan that comes forward from that team, and we will share it with you after the presentations from them. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay, council members.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of Sean talking about next Monday's committee meeting with Vice Mayor Klein and myself, I'm super excited to continue this process. It has been a bit of a process, and that's necessary to get so much community input, because it's a very important thing that we're looking at to revise the short-term rental ordinance. So yes, if you've participated in the process before, come back, and if you want to break from calling your state and federal representatives and would like to participate in local actions, please come out and help us out with housing initiatives. I don't know that I have, and I'm sure I have a million things, but I can't think of any right now.
Thank you.
Fire Safety Advisory Committee meets again on the 17th. Looking forward to that meeting. And I also do not have anything at this hour.
Tomorrow, Lou and I will be at the Solid Waste Commission meeting. These are public meetings. Anyone can be there, so no excuses. Come.
What time is it?
1:30.
Super convenient middle of the day.
Just right in the middle of the day, and they last hours. So I feel bad for you guys, Brown Act stuff. You can't be there, but anyone in the public who wants to sit.
Be there though, so always wonderful.
Shirley will be there. She's the best.
Right
But
spot.
just sit in a beige room and listen about garbage. That's tomorrow. And then Monday, we've got the housing stuff. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's all I got.
Great. A couple things. I think Evan mentioned this about, it's not just the software that's leading edge, it's what we're doing as a city that's so leading edge with our fire. We had mentioned before the Northern California Fire Collaborative that was working with the 5 counties across Northern California to lift up the voices of smaller communities. So I had my first participation on their leadership team this morning, which I joined. It's a very interesting group, as those who attended noted. I did continue to extend our invitation to visit Nevada City and when they're ready. But it's a good meeting. It's still a lot of dynamics going on with funding and everything else. So, but a really good group of people, and I'm happy to put my time and effort in that. And just the other thing is, how good we are again. Executing, getting the work done, getting the work out, staff developing, everything growing, everything being good. It is a good time for us, and I just want to acknowledge everybody's effort and how much I feel like I must owe you guys for taking up the short-term rental ordinance.
Happy to do it.
Yeah.
It needed to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, good. You actually almost mean that. So thank you. Yes, Lou?
I wonder if folks at home are wondering what these blue ribbons are for.
Thank you.
Please.
They are, last meeting, you had a proclamation, a presentation for Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month, which is this month, and it's associated with the Pinwheels for Prevention that you'll see in front of the DA's office, both on Union and on Main Street, as well as in the city planter boxes down Argyle Way. Thank you to Gabby, our Deputy City Clerk, for getting these wonderful pins for us to wear on the dais. We're also provided wonderful ones from the groups that came last time, but the one Gabby's found are a lot nicer, so thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Gabby.
Is it upside down? Yeah, thank you, Gabby. All right, if there's nothing else, we're going to
I
adjourn.
move to adjourn.